Welcome to the Sisterhood Spotlight, a video podcast show that celebrates and shines the light on women who have overcome obstacles, tragedies, challenges, and have triumphed and succeeded. You will hear the stories of amazing women who are entrepreneurs, community leaders, corporate professionals, and so many more. These women will inspire, motivate, and encourage you by sharing their tools, knowledge, tips, and support that you need to be empowered to succeed. I am the Mindset and Empowerment Coach and your host, Pat Gillum. Wow, listen, I am so excited today, my loves. I have with me my girlfriend, my sister, none other than the amazing Joanna Deshnay. Joanna, welcome to the Sisterhood Extravaganza Spotlight.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you.
Listen, I am thrilled today. Listen, if you are listening or listening right now on our video podcast and you are on Anchor FM, or if you are listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, we thank you. Please head on over to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get all the latest and greatest information on some powerful women who are empowered to succeed and giving you the tips and tools you need. And today, I'm again excited to have Joanna Deshnay. She is an amazing superstar. She's a woman of many talents. She has been a corporate professional. She's a fashion guru. I love everything about her. Joanna, tell our audience a little bit about you.
Absolutely. First of all, I am so proud of you. Can I just say that? I love the platform because I am all about one thing, which is sisters lifting sisters up. I think we get lost sometimes in the work that we do and we forget that we all need each other to be successful. And that is it really is true. And that has been my journey all along. So I started in corporate America because that's where everyone said I should be, right? You're good at this corporate thing. You really should lend your voice to a corporation. And for the time I was there, it was wonderful. I got a chance to meet some dynamic people like you, right, in the community. And as I got more entrenched in my work, I realized that while I was able to affect change in corporate America, working for APS, and I also worked for the Greater Phoenix Black Chamber of Commerce, I knew that there was more I wanted to do. As I started to have my boys, as I started to have children, I knew that my narrative, my voice, and my perspective really needed a community broader audience. So I thought when the time is right, I would do what I want to do. My soul was tugging me to do, right? We always get those soul tugs and we file them away and we say, maybe later I'll check on that and see what my soul is really trying to move me to do. And for me, Pat, my soul since I was a little girl was moving me to design. I always wanted to create fashion that empowered women, made them feel beautiful. I think we forget that these are not just threads, right? These, for some of us, can be armor. And I wanted women to feel like they had an armor that made them feel strong and powerful and beautiful. So when the time was right, I left corporate America to start my own clothing label, Black Russian, but never left kind of that work that I wanted to do in the community. So I went on a path that said, can I do it all? I'm gonna try, and that's what I did. I built my community work, my fashion work, my love for teaching. So I also teach at ASU, which I absolutely adore. I teach fashion at ASU, and I made them all into a life I could be proud of, and a career and a path that had a lot of intention. So that's kind of my full genesis to where I am now.
Wow, and how powerful is that? So, were there any challenges, Joanna, that you faced leaving corporate America, doing the thing that everybody else thought we should do, go to college, get a good job with the corporation? Were there challenges for you?
Absolutely. You know what happens when you're working in corporate America? You have a whole structure and a system around you. And so, if there's an IT problem, you go to the IT guy, right? If there's a problem, you go to the HR person. When you're on your own, guess what? You know this, that's you. I have a joke when people say, "Can I speak to your marketing department?" when they call for Black Russian. I go, "Hold, marketing, that's me also," right? So the biggest hurdle I had to overcome is this idea that you are everything. People love like entrepreneurship and they go, "Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur so I don't have to work for anyone." And when you become an entrepreneur, you work for everyone.
Yes.
You are everything to everyone all the time. So I try to instill in my students that this is a huge leap. But the one thing I had to overcome, I'll tell you, and I say this all the time, is this notion, and we all have it. I don't care who you are, what level you are, of what I call imposter syndrome. You know this. Am I as good as I think I am? Do I know fashion like I think I do? Am I really capable of running a brand, doing all the books, the finances, ordering the material? I mean, like running a full-on clothing brand. So for a lot of us, we have this anxiety around, I hope I'm not just faking it. That imposter syndrome is real. And for me, my undergrad wasn't in fashion. So I went back to school to get a master's in fashion design, simply because for that imposter syndrome, I always felt like I needed to have the validation of the education because I felt like I had the talent because the passion is there, but I wanted to make sure I also have that education piece so I didn't get caught because I can get in my own way, right? We know this. We can all get in our own ways with the imposter syndrome. So I wanted to make sure that I was being true, right, and authentic to myself, not for anyone else. So that was important. That's the one hurdle I think I'm still kind of working through right now.
Yeah, I know. It's so many times. I think you're so right, Joanna. We, especially women, do this more so than men, of course. We're so unsure of ourselves because we know we've perfected this one thing that we've done well, and now we take this big leap into the unknown, as I always call it. And
Right.
there are areas of the unknown that really challenges our self-esteem, it challenges our confidence, it challenges our courage. And sometimes we show up feeling like an imposter, that I don't really have what it takes to do this thing that I'm passionate and purpose to do. And so I'm glad that one of the things that you felt that really was in a position to help you was to go back to school and really learn fashion and get your degree in it so that you can overcome some of those challenges and really being able to perfect your skill set. And so when you started, I love the name of the company, Black Russian Label. Why Black Russian?
Because I have to tell you this. This is really, and I keep telling her I'm going to send her royalty check in the mail. This is really because of my sister Jackie. So, that is actually our heritage and our background. So our mom is Russian. Born in a little town outside of Moscow called Kharkov, and our father is Nigerian. So we were all born and raised in West Africa, in Accra, Ghana. And, I am just that. I am a quintessential Black Russian. And you wouldn't know that by looking at us, right? So as I was talking to my sister, she was on a trip one day and I was trying to get my little phone call in. And this is, of course, years ago. And that's how the name came about. She said to me, and I'll never forget, I don't even think she realized she said this. She said, "Now, Joanna, how many Black Russians do you know? Why is this so hard?" And the minute she said it, I went, "You're right. How many Black Russians do you know?" And that's what I always tell my students. Really, when they're learning fashion, they're trying to think about their brand and brand name. I always tell them, don't deviate from your true center. There is something that makes you unique. There is something that makes you special. And that is the genuine, authentic place you have to come from. Because I'm not trying to be something I'm not, right? I live a brand that is truly to the core and center of my being, who I am. And I think that's the alignment. So that's why it's called Black Russian Label, because it is essentially my heritage, my background, and also my vantage point, the lenses that I look through to really design the collection. So
Wow, I love that. And thank you for sharing that. And also, which leads me to my next question. Who is the Black Russian label brand for? Who's your ideal target? Like who's the person you're looking to say this is who is the embodiment of the Black Russian label?
Absolutely. Pat, you are a Black Russian woman. You are my customer. And what I mean by that is it is a woman that is bold and she's empowered by her style. When she walks into the room, she doesn't want people to have attention on her, but she wants you to know that when she comes in, she has presented her best self. This is a global woman. So a Black Russian woman is a woman that travels across the she's all cultures, she's all religions. And for her, dressing is a part of her language. She fully understands that what she wears says something about her. And so a Black Russian woman communicates the true essence of who she is by what she wears. Her clothes have to be as flexible as she is because it navigates throughout her day with her. I don't have time to stop and change into something else. And I want to know that what I'm wearing, right, is truly what I want to express throughout my day. And it has enough flexibility in it that I can take off a sleeve, I can put on a jacket and still look as polished and still be communicating that message to the people I meet. So that's really what it is. It's a chic, empowered woman that really uses her clothes to communicate her true character.
I
I
absolutely
absolutely
love
love
it. And so,
it.
Joanna, how
How
can
do
people
people
get in touch with you for Black Russian Label?
Oh, absolutely. So blackrussianlabel.com. Definitely, if you haven't gone to the website, go and check out blackrussianlabel.com. We've got a few collections posted there. We've got Chic Tribe, which is our latest, right? So it's all about the tribe of women that you meet in all your journey. And so just go and you'll get a chance to see a little bit about the collection, read a little bit about the mission and the vision of the brand. And also you'll be able to purchase things online. So blackrussianlabel.com.
Okay, so you guys see that on the screen right now. Go to the website blackrussianlabel.com, or you can also follow her on Facebook and Instagram at Black Russian Label, right?
Absolutely.
So I want to move into you have done the corporate stint, you have started your own business, you are an amazing, successful entrepreneur, a woman, a successful entrepreneur. You have your clothing line, Black Russian Label, and now you are doing something amazing in the Diversity Leadership Alliance. So, what's your role there, and tell us a little bit about that organization?
You know how we are, Pat. They say if you ever want to get something done, give it to the busiest, usually the busiest woman in the room, and she'll get it done. And that's really what it is. You know, the work around social justice and diversity and inclusion is something that's very close to me. I am a community advocate and, you know, working with Christine French, the late Christine
Oh,
French. I know, love her so, so dearly. She was a mentor of mine who passed last year, and working with her really reminded me of our alignment to each other and our alignment to a community. And really, that's why I do the work I do. So I serve as executive director for Diversity Leadership Alliance, and DLA is a 20-year-old organization that is all about equity, inclusion, diversity, and belonging. At the end of the day, we really want to empower people to feel like their voice matters. And we do so in workshops and an annual conference, and even have a youth leadership component because we realized about 10 years ago, we needed to start these critical conversations earlier. So we have a youth leadership program with Phoenix Union High School District for juniors and seniors, and it's also a scholarship program. So I have the great honor, and I'm humbled really to be executive director of this amazing organization. So
wonderful. I love it. I know I have been a part of GLA for, like you said, Christine French. who we all love and know, brought us all in. I think in Marion Kelly is another
Yep.
cornerstone there. It's such an amazing organization, and can I tell you, very relevant and needed right now during the times that we are in. Uh,
Absolutely.
what have you guys found with the DLA, Joanna, are some of the things that we as a people can do to be more inclusive?
Oh, that's a great question. So, we have, I don't know if I mentioned, but I'll mention it now. We have our conference coming up. So, October 29th and 30th is a 2-day deep dive conference that DLA is hosting, and it's 100% virtual, which means anywhere you are in the world, you can join us for conference. So, that's huge. First time we're doing kind of a virtual conference. But the things you can do to be inclusive, I mean, there are three really kind of, for me, top things. One, you have to educate yourself. If you are a person of color that is either traumatized by the racism and discrimination, or if you're an ally or advocate that supports a person of color, for me, you've got to get educated, because what's happening right now is, systems are being affected. We're not just talking about, incidents that are happening in isolation. We are talking about things that are systemic in terms of racism, and we're starting to see them manifest themselves. So I always tell people, make sure that you are educating yourself. Really quickly, if you want to do a quick little litmus test as to how diverse and inclusive you are, go to the Harvard Institute and take their implicit bias. I don't know if you've ever done that. It's an implicit bias survey, completely anonymous. But what it will do is it'll ask you a series of questions like, how do you feel about people that have tattoos? Right? And so we all have a visceral reaction to that. Do you think they're educated or not educated? And it goes to this whole barrage so that you can check your own unconscious bias. So that's part of that education. Of course, attending something like the DLA conference is tremendous. We've got 2 days of just workshops around things like culture shift, around things like advocacy and being co-conspirators for change. We've got things around the trauma of racism. We've got a panel on what it's like to be a man of color navigating, society in the U.S. We've got a panel on systemic oppression, how it looked then, how it looks now, what can we do to change it? So that's really, so educating yourself, workshops, surveys, organizations is important. The second thing is I really want people to become empowered in their own spaces to say something.
Yes.
I mean, that is so big right now. You know this, Pat. And a lot of us are a lot of us are afraid. We're afraid that, someone's going to judge me if I say something, but it is to me, as an anti-racist, as a part of the human race, as a part of someone that wants to advocate for change, you have to say something. If you see it, say it. And that's one thing that I want people to really do. Educate yourselves, say something. And the third part of it is join some kind of movement. I'm not saying everybody has to march. I'm not saying you have to go,
Right.
but do something, because there is power in the action, right? In the actual doing of it. That really, I think if we all did something, whether it was small or large, we could really start to see this pendulum shift. And we can start to see some things, people start to question policies, question procedures, and question processes. Like, why do we do it that way? Why are there no women on the board of directors? Why don't we have any people of color in senior management? That's what happens when you're educating yourself, when you're really being an advocate, for change, and when you're taking action. So those are kind of just a few top things to be more inclusive that I invite people to do.
I love that, and I love the fact that you must be able to educate yourself. If you see something, definitely say something and to take action. And you have done all of those things really well, and you continue to be a role model for women like me and women all around the world, and really people around the world. But I know I am so passionate about women because sometimes we don't use our voice because of whatever the thing is that you're dealing with. But I love how you're saying we have to really be in a place to just show up, right? To make a difference.
Yes.
Because I believe too, just like you, it's going to take all of us working together to
Yes.
make a difference.
Absolutely.
And I love what the DLA is doing, the workshops that it's providing, the empowerment for young people at a young age to get involved and to really be able to understand and start making a difference too and get it out there.
And Pat, let me just say, so for all of your audience here, we also honor these amazing men and women that are diversity leaders, like Pat here. She won't tell you, but she was one of our award recipients last year for the tremendous work that she's doing with this platform, this Sisterhood Extravaganza platform. And we really honored her because of the fact that it's about support, it's about celebrating, it's about collaborating. And this sort of model, I think nationally, is what we need more of. So that's what she was honored for last year at the DLA conference. I just want to shout her out, but we do have an award component too. So yes, you were doing it, girl, and we were so proud to be able to honor you last year.
Well, thank you. I am honored, and this is really about you, but I am so grateful. I really am, and I thank the DLA. I thank you for really being able to recognize the work that we're doing within this organization. What I love about the conference, too, you guys have to get to that conference this year. It's all online, like you said, it's virtual. You don't have to leave your home. And I believe it's going to serve more people because we have people that will be able to attend from all over the world. And so this is going to be an amazing accomplishment that you guys do this year. I love how you say, you know what, we must be able to confront some of the issues and start having a conversation around it and how we, again, as a community, right, can help, I think, improve some of the conditions of people in the world. So I want to thank you again for being here, being my special guest today. I always ask this question of all of my guests, of course. What one piece of advice that has helped you throughout your journey, or what piece of advice would you have to leave with our audience today that might be able to help and empower them?
Absolutely. So I say this a lot, and it's so funny when I say it to my students, they look at me with the most perplexed looks on their faces. And I this is how I start my dialogue with my students and with people I mentor. I always say, "What's your gas?" And they look at me and they go, "My what?" You know, and if you think about what gas is, right? It is what, without gas in a car, that car's not going anywhere. I don't care how much you press on that pedal, how much whatever you do, without gas, the car's not going anywhere. But when I say gas, what I'm talking about is, what is your genuine, authentic self? That's what gas stands for. And as you're thinking about who you are, right? What your path is, what you're good at. Understanding your genuine, authentic self is critical. I always tell my students go, "I want to be the next Vera Wang. I want to be the next Michael Kors." And I say, but those people are already taken.
Yes.
Why would you want to be that, right? Why don't you be the next you? And figure out what that means, right? What you will do in this space to affect change, what kind of legacy you will leave. And, we were talking about this earlier. When you're trying to align with someone else, we have this thing, and social media has done this. It presents everybody's successes, right, on this very visual platform. And we're looking like, look at what she's doing, look at what he's doing. And we start comparing ourselves.
Yes.
And it's a terrible thing, but what you have to realize is that may not be your path to success. And guess what? That's okay, right? Your path may look very different. They may have been able to do it at a younger age. You may be doing it at a later age, whatever that is. And I think if we align closer to center for self, we will not try to compare ourselves to other people. For me, my genuine, authentic self was to figure out a way to teach, to write, to do my clothing label, to do my community work around social justice and activism, and still have a little fun with my partner and my kids, and have a life of just meaning and intention on my own time, on my own terms. So when you define success for yourself and you're aligned to your genuine, authentic self, you will find success comes to you. And people always go, oh, things seem to come so easily to you. And I say, no, that's not true, but I'm walking in my path. And I'm walking in this path. And you have to create it. It's not like magic, right? It doesn't just appear. So you have to create the path. But once you've created it with intention and you've planned for it, then walk in it. Now, it's fine to stop and look over and say, she is doing a great job. You go, girl. That didn't mean jump on her path. That's not yours. You can still acknowledge and celebrate and stay focused on your path. If you always stay true to your genuine, authentic self, success will come on your terms, in your way, for you, without having you have to use anybody else as a barometer or gauge to define whether or not you are successful in your space. So that's the one piece of advice I would leave with folks is figure out that gas so you can go.
Woo! I love it. I told you guys we were going to be in for a treat today. And did she bring it or did she bring it? I love that advice. Find your true, authentic self through your gas. Your gas is your fuel. That's your energy. So when you really define what your genuine, authentic self is, that's going to be the fuel and the energy that you're going to need to be successful. So, Joanna, thank you so much. I so appreciate you today. Thank you for allowing me to shine the spotlight on you and to really share you with the rest of the Sisterhood community. So now they know how amazing I already knew you were.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate you so much. Keep doing this because I know you may not always see it, but know how many people are looking to you and how inspired they get by watching you. It's in the doing. Right? It's nothing more than you doing, you walking in your light, in your path that's got other people going, I can do it too. Let me get a little. So they're getting a little from you. So don't ever stop. It doesn't matter if you hear people say, that they get value from it. Know that people are watching. People like me are watching. And I'm so appreciative. I really am. So keep shining that light, especially on our sisters, because we need it.
We do. It's all about women empowering women, and I'm so grateful to you. So thank you again for being here today. And you guys, if you are watching on Facebook and YouTube, thank you so much. If you're listening to our podcast on Anchor FM, iTunes, and Spotify, we thank you again. Joanna, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. I love you guys.
Thanks, Pat.